Good evening, my YouTube family and friends and parents. Tonight, this message is for parents. First of all, let me say thanks to all of you who have been supporting me on this journey and are consistently there, making your comments, inviting others to subscribe and like the videos. As I said, I'm not a professional. I just put my thoughts out there and hope that it is reaching a person or two or three. And as it reaches you guys, that you will be willing to just share them. Because if it reaches you, then I know it will reach someone else. So continue to please like the little videos and leave your comments. I do enjoy reading your comments, and I because I used to teach language arts along with math, I do enjoy reading and writing. So tonight it's a different, I'm not cooking anything, and I am not really, my message tonight, it's just a kind of a thing where I am begging parents. I'm really begging tonight. And I'm not begging funds to do anything tonight. I'm just begging parents to be aware of what their children are doing on social media. The pandemic happened and it has affected us in different ways. It has affected relationships, it has created new relationships, and it have poisoned some relationships because people end up spending too much time with people they really didn't care about anymore. But in everything we know we must give thanks, and we must make it just be reasonable and just to keep going in a positive way. So along with all of that, with the adults, the pandemic created a lot of stress, a whole lot of stress. The unknown, the vaccine, the false informations, the doom and gloom, the just the deaths upon deaths. Oh my God, horrible. But you know what? We those of us who got through it, we got through it, and we're taking it one day at a time, and we're encouraging and we're supporting, and we're encouraging and we keep supporting. But as an educator who has to be out there facing it, children coming in not vaccinated, staff members who decide they're not taking the vaccine, and it's a lot that we face each day that we stand out there. We know the nurses and the doctors or the healthcare people, the people work in the nursing home, the nurses' aides, the caretakers at home, all of us, everyone, not just us, the police officers, you name it. It has been a hard thing to face. And when you're public servants, you have to serve the community. It makes it a little more interesting. Because this is not something that you could get up today and say, oh, I'm not doing. This is your job. This is what pays your mortgage and pays the bills. So you have to go. But now we know that during the pandemic, kids they became owners of all sorts of gadgets because we wanted them to learn. One of the things I sort of blame the different areas for is that they handed the kids these devices, and there was nobody followed up. Nobody. For me personally, I think if I was in charge, I would have handed the devices out, but I would also, because we have the ability to do that, I would also set a time frame when children would be using them and when we would be shutting them down. And I would do that because these are not personal gifts. These were necessary resources to help children continue learning. Maybe 50% of the kids didn't even log into a class during the time, but they still got to keep these devices. So I would have done things differently. If you're not doing the lessons, you're not coming to class, then I would think about packets dropping off, being dropped off, or being mailed, and they send it back to get a grade. But to just allow them to have these devices that they were not able to acquire before, they couldn't afford it. But now they got them, and it's games and TikTok and videos and getting into places that they shouldn't. And so as they return to school, they come back with all of these unnecessary things clouding their minds that they have no business to have been exploring. And you watch them in the hallways and you listen to conversations and you become frustrated because you're saying, what happened to these young kids? But now the big trend is this TikTok thing where they're using this instead of using it for good or posting nice videos or whatever. But now it's becoming the forum to send messages of how to create havoc in the schools, how to hurt teachers, how to blow up a school, how to giving out, and then the kids who are not thinking, they just think it's funny because they want to get these things done so they can post them. And they post them and they get excited, but parents, I'm asking you to remind the kids that there would be serious consequences for these behaviors. Parents, I'm begging you to have good conversations with your children. A lot of the kids we're teaching now are kids that have very young parents, and a lot of them think that they're kids and that they're not friends. Your kids are not your friends. We have to guide our kids. We have to be role models for them. We have to understand that what we say to kids, what we even say in conversations where we're on telephones to friends, that thin walls allow kids to hear things that maybe you didn't mean for them to hear. When you talk badly about teachers and you sow seeds of hatred in kids' heads, they will develop these kinds of behavior where they come into the school and they have no respect. They have no form of anything. They don't want to do work. They don't want to do anything. And now as soon as these things are sent out on these TikTok things, it's easy for them to get caught up into them. Schools shouldn't have to be shutting down bathrooms and only have a certain amount of things available because kids are picking up TikTok challenges and wreaking havoc on the plumbing in the schools. So now the latest one now is to bomb up somewhere, to shoot up something, or to create this kind of disaster in the school. And that's what's now trending on TikTok. So I'm just here using my platform and using this voice that I have to beg of you parents to talk to your children. The children should be our future. So please talk to them and let them understand that there'll be harsh consequences if they're participating in these things. Please remember that your children, the pain you went through to have these beautiful beings, that they cannot raise themselves. They need guidance. They need love. They need support. They need to be taught how to and how not to. So I'm just admonishing us guys to just think. You know, we have these children and then we just leave them to raise themselves. And because of that, they get into things and join with people that they shouldn't have been joining with. So tonight I'm coming home because, you know, it's out there. And we should never sit back and think, oh, well, not in my community. It shouldn't be happening in any community. So please remind our kids of what it means to be respectful, to be kind, to be decent, to be humble. what it means to get an education. Because without that, then we are easily led. We cannot have a voice when it's necessary. Parents, you need to jump on board and be part of the conversations. You need to see what your kids are doing. You need to see what they're watching. You need to have control. You cannot hand these kids these kind of phones, these kind of things, and expect them to be using them carefully if you're not guiding and teaching them. When they come to school and we have to take a phone, it becomes such a big deal because everybody wants to hold onto their phones. But to help them to learn something, it becomes like you're pulling teeth. Because gone is the importance of learning and achieving greatness. And so you encourage and you build self-esteem, and you build and you build. And you hope that the morals will rise, and you hope that they will find that integrity and pride in who they are and where they're going and how they're getting there. But our voices cannot be the only voices they're hearing. They have to hear your voices. You have to be involved. You have to stop telling your kids who has a right and who is the parent and who is not the parent. It's not about who the parents are. It's about what the parents are doing to help society do better. So it bothers me, and I become frustrated when our young men and women who should be picking up and becoming ready to lead are the ones who are falling through the cracks and who are becoming violent because they're so angry. You have to have the conversation. You have to know why they're angry. You have to help them with this anger and guide them back into a path of peacefulness, appreciation, and goodness. No child is capable of taking care of him or herself. I always say to my students, I said, listen, when an animal has a young, we look at a cow giving birth to a calf. We look at the elephant, we look at the goats, we look at those things, those animals, when those young ones come out, that within hours, they have to be fumbling and fighting and trying to be strong, to stand on their feet. They have to be able to find that mother's breast so that they can get milk, so that they can survive. It's right there at birth that they have to learn what survival means if they want to go on. But our children are not so. We carry them for 9 months and then we go through all that excruciating pain to bring them into this world. And so if nothing else, please don't forget the pain. They said, we forget it and we go back again and we have more. Can we forget? But understand and remember, find a way to remember how hard it was. And as you look at these beautiful children, please know that they're not animals that get up and in an hour or two they have to be strong and doing. They need us. For 18 years we have to be guiding them. It takes them a whole year or so to be walking strongly, and takes them another while to be speaking so that you can understand them. It takes a while as they touch and they explore and they learn. And we have to be right there with them, helping them to understand. And then they come to school and it takes another how many years for them to start learning to read and putting things together. And it would be easier if parents were helping in the process. But we have them and then we feel like, oh well, whatever. We cannot be whatever with our children. The world is going in a bad place. So I'm not going to go through why I'm making this video right now. I'm not going to go through one part of it, but I'll let you know this, that I'm asking you to be involved in what your kids do. Encourage your children to know that if they get text or any kind of notes or what have you, and they are helping to pass it on, they are just as responsible. If they hear something, let somebody know right away. And if you, the parents, found something out after you go through their phones and you're involved and you're there and you're monitoring and you are making sure, please let people know so that people can put the right pieces in place for safety. It's too much going on now because of social media that is not being used responsibly. It's too much going on now, and people know they can reach the children wherever they are because everywhere you go, they attracted them into this TikTok. And TikTok took off like wildfire. But in that wildfire, there are so many of us who are going to get burnt. So I'm begging you, parents, you know what right is, you know what wrong is. Please teach your children what is right. Help them to understand, and you practice it too. You practice it. You be their first role models. They call you when you tell them, write a essay about your hero. Oh, my mom is my hero. My dad is my hero. Please, if you're their heroes, then do the right things. A hero saves lives. Do the right things. Don't let schools get blown up. Don't get kids get shot down or teachers get shot down like animals because of some crazy challenge. Talk to your children. They're too angry. They are too free with these things. Talk to them. Kids come to school. We have phones in the school. They can reach you if they need, if there's an emergency. Some of you know the rules of the school because you get handbooks. But then you sit home and you're texting your child in school. Why are you texting a kid? Why are you texting children in school? What can they do for you? What is it that cannot wait until the end of the day? So we are out here, we're fighting, but we're fighting battles that are hard to win because you are not on board with us. You are telling your kids words that they shouldn't be told. And so when the kids come in, they don't know better. Kids don't have loyalty. They're just growing up. They're just babies growing up. So they don't understand a lot of things. And when you put things in their heads, it stays there and it festers. And it gets worse. And a lot of times when it comes out incorrectly. So as an educator, I've been an educator for over 20 years, over 22 years now. I'm just asking that as we go in every day have to face their children who are oftentimes too angry. They're so disgruntled. They come in, they don't want to do work, or you shouldn't encourage them to do work because they're just not doing work. They come in and they want to do their own thing without understanding that you're an adult in the classroom. And when you tell them it's not going to be tolerated, then you become a monster. Because you're telling them not to, and you're yelling at them. And you're blessed sometimes when other kids would say, well, she didn't yell at you. What are you talking about? And so we go in every day and we go to face the child, but we're human beings too. We have families too. Families who care about us and want to make sure we're safe. So it's a two-way street, guys. So let's work together as a team and to get these things done and to bring our kids back to the center so that they can be productive young people. Let us stop encouraging them and empowering them to do ugly, mean-spirited things, but let us bring them back. Let us teach them to be humble, to be kind, to be strong. Help them from now to understand that they're going to have to be providers and protectors of families and children as they get older if they choose that path. And so just help them to understand that they're the men and women of tomorrow. So tonight I'm pleading and I'm begging, not for funds for anything, I'm not asking for funds for anything. I'm just asking you to help us save our young children. Give them back to us so we can work with them. And I'm not talking about just where I'm at, I'm talking about wherever you are listening to my voice, that you'll understand that it's necessary, it's important that we are guiding our children well, both boys and girls, so that they can grow up to be awesome human beings, to be good citizens, and so they can give back to society. If you can't be good, be careful, my friends. But you know what? Just walk good. Thank you.